You're watching Soul Sisters on Pure Soul, powered by Isaac Hayes on Dash Radio.
Always be trying to catch me off guard. Think because of the wine, I ain't gonna be on time. I know what I'm doing.
Barely.
What do you mean barely?
I'm kidding.
We 4 years in. Oh.
See, you don't even know how to do 4, girl.
I'm just messing with you. You know, bruh man on the 5th floor. You know, he do that.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, we got Arrested Development in the house. Arrested Development is going to be honored at Black Music Honors, which this is the 4th year, I think, for Black Music Honors, although I haven't been to any of them.
That's surprising because you love the red carpet, but okay.
No, I don't even know who puts it on. Like, it's televised and everything.
Because any other time, we would have had some tickets and we would have walked on the carpet and everything.
No, we will have tickets. We still got tickets.
No, we're working the carpet.
We're working the carpet.
Yes, working.
Anyway, it ain't about us. Thank you guys for being here.
No, thank you for having us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, your family, just family.
I know Eshe was here. She filled in for us one time.
Yes, she's
fun.
the soul sister.
Yay! I gotta come back.
Yes,
I
you
enjoyed
do.
it. I really did.
Yeah, you
good
gotta come
time.
back
Yes,
when we.
totally.
You know, I be cutting up all the time. You used to that though.
Yes.
You used to that.
Yes, definitely.
So, how do you guys feel about being honored? Like, it's been, how many years has it been since the group? Well, let me say this. Let's just give some history.
Okay.
Right.
When did
Let's
the
talk
group,
about who we got in studio.
Yes.
and when the group started, so that those listeners who are on here that are like 12 and 13, somebody's young, they don't
16.
Right.
16, so yeah.
Wow.
So we can give you some history.
So you want me to do it, Ross?
Go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
sure. could just
So
look at my
in the
beard and see what's
studio,
happening.
you have myself, Mosho Eshe or Eshe, and you have Razadon over there. And Arrested Development actually was started by Speech and Headliner back in the 80s. And then I joined the group when I was 13 years old.
Ooh.
What? Yeah. And so
Girl, you ain't even 20
I
yet.
know, you're so sweet. Wow. And actually, the opportunity came because my sister,
Our
Yankita, producer of this show, she passed the opportunity on to me. And Ian Burke asked me to come and audition, and I auditioned for Speech and Headliner. And then we met Roz a few years later. We actually were getting booed at a show when he walked in.
What made you want to join the group after that?
I don't even know.
Why would you join the group?
You know what? I think it was Dion. Dion was because Dion was gonna be singing.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was
Dion and
interesting.
Michael
It was
Malden.
interesting. Not just boot. They had some. I can hear myself in the headphones.
He's like, I can hear myself.
I never
don't
forget
know
the
about
cans. Like Headliner had these cans that he was dragging.
We were doing Mr. Wendell.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I was just like, wow, this is interesting. It was just different, you know.
It was a great
you know what?
show.
We
a
had
step
we had
show.
seen De La Soul so long. I think it was time for when I saw them. I was like, oh, this is not that far off. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah. So Roz comes in, and Michael Malden actually brought Roz in and Dion Ferris. And then Speech was like, hey, I like your look. You want to join the group? And then Roz was like, sure. And it was just like that. And then he found out Roz could do the art, draw and play drums, and he could sing and dance. And the logo that you see, the famous AD logo, he's the one who created it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I forgot people can't
so
sing.
Dion, a lot of people think Dion Ferris was actually a part of Arrested Development, but she actually was just a guest vocalist. So
Okay.
she didn't want to be in the group, just wanted to, be a guest vocalist on the record because she was doing her solo thing. And then Tariq came in, early Tariq, and then Baba OJ went to school with Speech in college.
Okay.
So Baba OJ is the elder, and he just passed away last October.
Rest in peace, Baba.
So Baba was like 50-something when
Oh,
I
wow.
met him. Yeah, and he was going to college with Speech, and Speech just thought he was cool because he was like, this older cat is in college with these young kids, and he would hang out with all the young kids, and so that's how it all happened. So the original members are Speech, Headliner, Razadon, myself, and Bobo Jane, and Early Tariq.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Headliner.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, I said Headliner.
No, yeah, she said headline.
I didn't hear it.
That's what's up.
A lot of times when you are in the creative process or just doing the things that you love to do, you don't necessarily have the expectation of the level of success. Like you hope so.
Totally.
You hope it's going to be successful.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that you never probably imagined that you all would reach the level of success that you did.
I mean, for me, I was just doing it for fun. I love to dance. So I was like, I was in the 8th grade when they were in college.
I was going to say, you were a baby.
Yeah, so it was kind of like,
whatever.
Exactly. I just wanted to dance. So that was my whole thing. And so, you know, I knew I was part of something that was unique and great, but I just honestly, I was shocked, you know, because I think when Arrested Development dropped Tennessee, I was in the 12th grade. So, you know what I mean?
High school. To have that kind of success.
It was crazy.
In the 12th grade.
Right.
That was a lot. What about you?
Well,
it wasn't luck for me. I was hitting the ground with a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that something happened. Actually, when I came to one of the things that made me come to Atlanta was me and Dion were working with Jermaine. Jermaine was writing. Jermaine was had just started this young sensation to write, and he had a bunch of things going on. So we started collaborating with him from New Jersey. By the time we got to Atlanta, Bart connected us with Eshe and them.
Oh, okay.
So they were looking for a background singer, and I was coming here to go to school. And so I didn't have any friends. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Whatever. I didn't think it was going to be successful like that, but it was like I got in at the right time and had the skill to support myself in it.
Well, I mean, I think that our listeners need to understand, it's beyond it was successful. It was history making. It was really different, and you changed the course. Well, it does. It changed the course of, it was really different. It was really unique and original, and it really changed the course of what we thought hip hop should be. Because prior to that, you had Chuck D and people like that with messages in their music, but it kind of was a lull, for a little while until you guys, came along. And
it was very conscious.
Yeah, it was very conscious. So because conscious, even though conscious, we were all aware, those who love hip hop.
We weren't all aware.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying all. People who liked hip hop, who were really true hip hop lovers, were aware of conscious rap or conscious music, but it never reached the level of commercial success.
Right.
That you all, you know what I'm saying, that you all did. So why do you think that you guys were able to successfully have music that, had a conscience and had a message and create such a level of success when it comes to commercial success? Because everything was different about it. Nobody was naked. That's a shock. You know what I mean? That was what I didn't like on our first segment. All the things that record labels thought you needed to have to make a commercially successful group. You guys were complete polar opposites, and it was hugely successful.
I think and I know Roz definitely can speak on this as well, but I think for us, we were just on the right frequency at the time, and we honestly probably didn't know we were on the right frequency. We were just kind of walking in our personal truth. And I think what was so unique about Arrested Development is because you have Bob O.J., he's the elder. Who can't connect with the elder in the Black community? I mean, in any community for that matter.
Right.
Then you had me, the bald head, and I always smiled like I do now, and I was the young one. And then you had Early Tari, and she brought what she brought. And then Roz had these locks that were just crazy, they looked like trees were growing out of his head, and he was truly in the Rastafarian religion, and that whole thing, so people could identify with that. Then you had speech, very intellectual, very and headliner, everybody, it was just all these unique characters, if you will, you know what I mean? And I mean, till this day, I meet people and say, hey, I cut my hair because of you, or you made me feel comfortable doing that. And I think it was Headliner was I'm just going to shave your hair off. And I said, okay. I mean, you know what I mean? And it was just okay.
Yeah.
And so I remember even at my age, rocking a natural was not.
What, nobody's age
Nobody
back
was
then.
doing
Nobody
it
was
back
doing
then.
that.
And I mean, I just think that we all just had a vibe, and it clicked, and we just, it was just a synergy. You can't, you can't really, create that. It kind of just, literally organically, it just happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which I think things that are successful oftentimes come from a place of truth.
Yeah.
And so that's what people, even though, we, all the smoke and mirrors with the big booty girls and the hair and the smoke and all of that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, the one thing that we all can relate to is the truth of something. And I think that that's probably why it connected, because clearly nobody was like being, dreads and stuff. That was not, it wasn't in back then. Like now you have all these natural girls, like it's in to be, that was not in the 90s, early 90s. Like it was not.
No.
I think something was birthing us though. It was like there was music before us, your father, your father. All of that stuff was birthing us to get to the place where Arrested Development was, like De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest and all of that stuff that we had been listening to forever. Stevie Wonder. We were the child of that. Yeah. It's kind of like the music now. This music today is something birthed. Like we all made this. There was a time when we were like, you couldn't come after us because if you didn't have the lyrics, what were you gonna do? So you gotta start to mumble, as they say, or whatever people started to make it. I think that when I look at this generation of music now, I'm like, oh, this is a product of us. Yeah. So you just have to wait. You know what I mean? But it's everything has its place in time. I think for us, when we came through, because there was nothing like us, that's what made it hit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always.
We weren't aggressive. We weren't attacking anybody. We were just talking about stuff that people could relate to.
And I think also the music kind of just, struck a lot of chords with people, just when Tennessee was, I remember hearing Tennessee for the first time, the lyrics, and I just, knowing Speech and where it came from, that he lost his grandma and his brother, Terry. I was like, wow. In that song, a lot of people say that, it was a spiritual experience for them. And I think, I never forget, we performed at Jack the Rapper's. I don't know if you remember this, Roz.
Oh, Jack the Rapper.
Yes. I remember sneaking up in there.
Jack the Rapper. I remember going to that with Daddy.
And I remember we were performing and the room was empty. And I think by the time we got to Fishing for Religion, I look up Queen Latifah. All these people I look up to standing in the room watching us.
Right.
And at that moment, that's when I knew, okay, something big getting ready to happen.
I was about to ask you, when did you know? Was it when you saw the white folks in the audience? Because usually, I ain't trying to be funny, because usually that's when we like, oh, dang, it ain't nothing but white folks in the audience. Or was it because the people that you looked up to were in the audience?
I think, for me, when I knew that we made it big, when Debbie Allen spoke to me, I said, oh, Lord. For me, Debbie Allen as a dancer, I'm like, oh, that's Debbie Allen. So she spoke to me on the plane. And Mary J., so many people gave us just love throughout the years and was like, y'all different, but y'all do y'all thing. You know what I mean? And it was just like, those were the moments that made me say, wow, when we worked with Michelle and Cello, for Saturday Night Live. When we were on David Letterman, just Arsenio Hall, I was like, what?
Wait, that's when it hit you?
Yeah.
When did it hit you?
For me, Raj,
when did it hit you?
Wait, so I with me being a drummer, I remember when we started doing Lollapalooza. This is way late in the game, but I got to I had got my first endorsement, and when I got to Lollapalooza, I had went through with a few companies. I had full Yamaha cymbals. I had a 30, 40-piece set, and Arrested Development is really a 3-piece. But I had all these cymbals, all this stuff. I was like, damn, this is free. Yeah. This is not paid for. I'm thinking, this is, we're somebody. They're like, this is yours. This is yours.
Do you remember that time, Roz, when we did a show, we had to do 2 shows in 2 different states in one night? And we got the whole plane to ourselves. Remember that? It was like a commercial plane.
Oh, yeah,
we had
Milwaukee,
the whole plane. And then when we got to the airport, we had a police escort. I was like, oh, wow. I felt like Michael Jackson.
We the ish now, y'all.
But yeah, that was fun. And meeting people like Nelson Mandela and working with Spike Lee.
That's crazy. That's
you know what I'm saying?
Wait, so let me say this. But all of this stuff that we're saying, it's still never registered with us, I don't think. We're talking about our experiences, and they were internal experiences. We never showed people we thought that we made it. Right. We never looked like it. But the band was always humble, just really into the creativity of it, and the stuff that we were doing was really organic. We were organic people. We were really holistic. We were the the vegans and all that stuff before it was cool, before they had a name and all of the products to go with it. That was our lifestyle.
But you could tell basically because when you look at the evolution of artists, sometimes the artist prior to success and the artist after success, it even looks different. Like y'all don't come out with shiny puffy suits after the first album.
Oh no!
You know what I mean? Like so, it did not evolve in that way.
The clothes are falling off the floor.
Yeah. I cannot with you right now. I'm not even.
I can't.
But the thing about it is that that to me, when you think about those years, and it's funny because we have Nabs here, and you were
Nabs.
you were working with Jermaine. That was a huge time in Atlanta for music.
Yes.
That was the birth, like from you, Chris
Of
Cross,
course.
TLC. Like
Yes.
it was a lot of great music. And I think the thing about it is it was very true to who everybody was.
Totally. And I remember when I first met Nabs, I was 13. Yep. And he used to have this apartment downtown. All his DJ equipment. I think I was with Headliner and Speech, actually. And Nabs worked with us on our project, you know what I mean? And Nabs is family.
But how does that feel for you guys to basically have a place in the history of the Atlanta music scene? Because it's a big,
or
it's a big
even bigger in the African American
Yeah.
Museum in DC.
I know
Yeah.
that I went like a year ago, and when I heard people say, "Hey, you guys are in the museum," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
When I got there, I literally teared up. Like it was a lot, you know what I mean? Because Public Enemy has this whole wall, then us, and I was like, wow.
But it's just to be impactful
it's
as a doing something that you love, and to be impactful in that
Yeah.
way has to be very humbling.
It is, and it really, for me, I could just speak to how I feel. It really makes me constantly say, just be so super grateful, just for the opportunities, and then to realize, dang, I was really young when all this happened.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we met so many people, and sometimes people will say, I met you 20 years ago, and I may not remember them. And it's not because I'm doing it purposely. We met so many people.
Right.
And we were in so many places. I remember for 2 years, we toured literally the whole 2 years. I think we were home maybe 2 weeks out of 2 years. So I left a 12th grader and came back, a young, like almost 20 years old. So it was just different, and so for me, it just is a true blessing to just hear people still talk about the rest of them and the movement of the music, and that it still resonates with people today.
Well,
Yes.
apparently it does, because y'all will be honored
Yes.
on Thursday.
Yes.
How does
Which
that
is
make y'all
awesome.
feel y'all been honored
I think it's-
before, but just to continuously get honored.
What you say, continuously?
Yeah. You've been honored before.
I feel like it's a payoff a little bit for conscious music, because when you're in a conscious band, you don't get all of the
Bells
big
and whistles.
stuff. The
Yeah.
bells and whistles, yeah. Where, you're just out there and you hope that your message actually resonate with people, which it did, which
Right.
is awesome. And then later on, when it's not so popular, like right now there isn't a lot of conscious music, people still have those things to remember, They still have that foundation, which I feel like we laid. So I'm really humbled and grateful that, it's happening.
And I think
too.
Arrested Development pioneered the movement, to be honest, for the second wave, if you will. You know what I mean? The next wave. So a lot of times when you're the pioneers of things, you don't necessarily get all the, the accolades, because right after that, the Fugees came out and it was massive.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was kind of like, and I love the Fugees. I remember when they opened up for us in London.
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean? So that's what I mean.
Wow.
It's just and then after that, the Black Eyed Peas, and it was just so many
Yeah.
different people that came after us that really had, we had a great success as well, but it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So.
Okay, so what about tour? What's going on? Reunion?
Well, we actually just performed with the group at City Winery.
Okay.
Guys and I.
Somebody had y'all live.
Yeah.
Everybody was standing up. Everybody was
Yes.
on their feet. I was like, oh, that was turned up.
Yeah.
We missed that.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, it
Wine
felt
was
good.
rocking.
It felt good. And this is going to be awesome, because this is the first time in years, probably since the 90s, Roz, that Speech,
Wow, yeah.
Roz, Headliner, and myself will be on the stage together.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and we're all, we've been on stage I might have been
different
with Speech or
times,
right,
yeah.
you know what I mean? But all four of us
Together, yeah.
since like the 90s.
So, all right. Tell us about what you're doing now, because I know you
Right. Yes.
are everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For me, like, because I've been through so much in my life and in this business, I always made it a mission that I wanted to help artists and tell them the truth and just support them in any way. So I do artist development. And so for me, that's my
What a better person to
Oh,
do.
you're so sweet.
I mean, come on.
You're so sweet. I appreciate that. I like working with my clients from the inside out. So I deal with the soul first. And
Yeah.
then we do all the other stuff because I let them know this business.
Well, if you got that together,
if
you're not
you
going
don't
to make
have
the
this
soul
together,
together. You're not going to make
You're
it.
not gonna make it.
Right.
So I have really dedicated my life to training up and coming artists or people who've already been out there that just want a second chance. And I do choreography. I work with a lot of young people. I teach. Oh yeah, and I sing too. I sing.
She ain't
write
never stopped
songs. Yeah, and of course I dance all the time. So I do a lot of different things, and I manage my daughter who's a supermodel.
She is. She is.
Yeah, so for me, community is big for me and giving back. And you shall see me on a TV screen one of these days.
All
soon
right,
in
then.
film.
Yeah, like in 2 days, maybe.
We know who the jokester is. Oh,
Well,
man.
it's hard to say. Whenever I hear that question, what are you doing now? It's hard because obviously I think as creative people, we're always going to be creating something.
Yep.
For
Never
me,
stop.
I'm more than just an artist for music. I'm an artist for the arts. And so, like, looking at everything that's happening, I'm doing animation, I'm doing a bunch of different things, but nothing could top the Arrested Development stuff. So you have to kind of sit back and sometimes just watch and then see what comes up next. And I feel like I have something in the bag. We'll just wait for it.
Well, Arrested Development
When
cartoon?
when it's out of the bag, will you come back?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
Yeah.
an amazing artist.
I know
that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you.
I mean,
It ain't
y'all
even
got to tune in. Y'all, I don't know what Black Music Owners is coming on. Does anybody know what's going to be telecast on?
Bounce TV.
Is it? Gonna be on
Yes,
Bo-
it's gonna be on Bounce.
See,
Yes,
that's why you got to
Bounce.
get the heavy hitters
Yeah.
in here to tell
And I
you.
think it's on
Bounce.
like syndication between like September 14th, something like that, to October. So you'll be able to see it.
Oh,
Okay, because
okay.
people were
Yeah.
asking was it going to be televised. So it will be
Yes.
televised. So,
And it's
just
live Thursday.
Okay, so it's
Taping
live.
live.
They are messing around with
Yes.
black folks with live.
Yes.
That is not what you want.
That is so awful.
Yeah, you can still, people actually can come and buy tickets.
You can buy tickets,
and
too.
It's
I
at
heard
the
on the
Cobb
radio.
Energy Center.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Devin, come out.
Yes.
All right. That's it.
Yes, that's it for Arrested
Okay.
Development.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see y'all Thursday on the red carpet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
act like y'all know who we
Exactly.
are.
Y'all better stop and talk to us.
Of course. Your family.
All right, now we're going out with a duet. Is that what we're going out with? Oh. Okay, we're going to go out with, so we're going to go out with the duet first. Is that no? Oh, we're going out with King first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have a remix coming soon.
Well, why don't you just tell everybody what we
What's the
going out
duet?
to?
What's the duet?
Hello, all of you people in Dashland. This is Keita, the producer. Right now, we're about to go to King by Eshe, formerly of Arrested Development. She's one of the originals, and that's her current single. Y'all can get it off of iTunes and all that. And then we're going to go into You Make Me Wanna, which is her duet with Omari Hardwick from Power Ghost. All y'all fans, it's really sexy and it's dope.
Oh my God.
That's that.
Okay, guys.
Spoken by the sister.
We'll be back, guys.
We're back on Soul Sisters. Well, y'all, this is the second part.
We got a lot going on today.
You know who we got in the house?
DJ Nabs.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
Yes.
me. It's been, I was supposed to be here before, so
Yes.
I wanted to make sure it happened.
Thank you so much for making this happen for us and for our listeners.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes.
So if you're under a rock, then you just don't know who DJ Nabs is. So
Oh,
let's
come
just
on.
go ahead and and let people know exactly who is DJ Nabs.
30 years I've been in Atlanta as a DJ, radio personality, party rocker, etc. And yeah. And I started with Criss Cross professionally in Atlanta in 92. Arrested Development, of course, I remixed Tennessee. So we were kind of all in the same management family. A lot of people didn't realize that Criss Cross Jermaine, Arrested Development was being managed by ERI, which is a company that Jermaine's father and a guy named Philip Calloway had. Anyway, so that was kind of the jump start to my professional career. And from there, I've had a career in radio and clubs and touring.
So how did you weren't born in Atlanta, were you?
I'm born in Durham, North Carolina.
North Kakalaki.
Yep.
So what made you come to Atlanta, I would say first? And was that your aspiration when you came?
No, Atlanta was not an aspiration. And even when I moved here, Atlanta was not a place particularly for hip hop. Because let me put the time frame in it for the younger folks. In 84, when I started DJing, I was in the 10th grade, so rap was only 5 years old. So as far as the first rap record in 79. So LL Cool J in 85 put out a record called I Need Love. And there was a female answer record for that song. And the person who did that, she's from Durham.
Okay.
Her name is Shirley Merritt, and I was her DJ. So I
Okay.
was in the 11th grade. She was in the 10th grade. So we were doing shows with the Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, Two Live Crew, UTFO, Steady
wow.
B, etc.
Wow.
So then, after I graduated, I went to North Carolina Central, continued to DJ, and then in '88, I moved here to DJ a friend's party, and I never left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what happened. So when I moved here in '88, I mean, there was MC Shy-D, I always say this, Raheem the Dream, D-Rock, of course, the J Team. There was a movement here, but it was very, very, very small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said when,
Yeah.
Ironic that you guys were here on the same day. It's like you guys were the beginning, literally, of the ATL, music movement here in the city where people would know about this particular city and all the talent that was. There was lots of talent here before, but it kind of birthed and became very commercial and extremely successful at that point. And so clearly moving here for a party and never leaving, that was not your intent. Did you feel it, or did you know that these things were going to happen, or did you have any sense of
was
wow,
you
this could
going
be
with
big?
the flow?
Yeah.
I've always been spiritually led. And but I did want to address the artists before us, because it's hard for me to say that. The year that Jump came out, Whoop There It Is came out, Tennessee came out, 92, 93. All may have been the same year. I mean, the records were not, you couldn't define it to one region. You could not define Whoop There It Is, you couldn't define Jump, you couldn't define TLC. I forgot about TLC, the rest of Development. You couldn't tell where those artists were from. So I think it grabbed the whole entire world's attention. But Atlanta definitely had the foundation of so many things. Like I said, the J Team and Shy-D and those cat and DJ Toomp, who I met when I first moved here. And so many people. So I never want to take credit for those guys, because I came here and I had to start playing those records.
Yeah.
1-5. I mean, it can go on and on.
Yeah.
Atlanta's history is much deeper than what's being told. But as far as being led to Atlanta, I knew not to. New York, it was like everybody was going to New York in '88, during that time. And it's just, I came to Atlanta, I was like, no, this is it.
Because I don't think anybody, I mean, we all are like one way or the other singing or dancing or whatever in the industry. And I don't think like as a teenager, I listened to all those records. Raheem, I went to school with his sisters, Raheem. So we all knew, but I kind of felt like what I would see is nationally, there was not a lot of respect given to this region of where all this great music came from. And it didn't start, I mean, and people respect numbers and commerciality and stuff like that. And that's kind of where they saw it. But we all know that it was going on way longer prior to the world seeing it. But when you started with, especially Criss Cross, that was like a big deal. It was a huge deal, actually, a big thing. Like, again, you had a sense of this is going to be a big thing when you started working with them, or Jermaine was like, yeah, I have some kids and could you DJ for them, or?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's when Criss Cross's single came out, Jump, I was not their DJ at that time. It happened really quickly because the record blew up fast, and then Michael Jackson asked them to be on tour, and then they realized they needed a DJ because it was getting serious. And the MJ show was a 45-minute show.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of that show was me, just DJing, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sometime in the middle. But I say that because we were outside of Atlanta for to me for years. You come home and you go to sleep. But that record was so big, the album was so big that we toured for quite a few years. And then by that time, Jermaine had So Def, so he came in with Escape and The Brat. Then I was their DJ too. So it never really stopped. It just kind of rolled on for me until 1996 when I got on Hot 97.5. But I'm just mentioning that to say that it was hard to focus. There was no focus on Atlanta. We was in Japan. We was in LA. We was there. So I was absorbing the whole industry and understanding where money comes from television shows. We did a Sprite commercial. To, just understanding all that. That was the swirl that was going on in my mind. I didn't really even land back in Atlanta until 96 in my brain.
Yeah.
As far as the scene and the climax, yeah. But it wasn't, there's a video I post sometimes on my Instagram. I'm super young. I was doing some television show and the guy sent me the footage a few years ago and we had just come back from the Michael Jackson tour, so it's 92. And I said, I guess I was just saying in the camera, basically, that we have a lot to prove out there. Because it wasn't automatic. The record sold, but there wasn't no automatic respect for Atlanta or nothing like that. It just had to keep going and going.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and how was that being on tour with Michael Jackson?
I know people always ask that. I mean,
I'm gonna ask. He's just a performer like everybody else?
No. I definitely think that. But it's definitely more of a weirder. I don't know if I would say weird, but different background story. Here's me. Even Criss Cross, there was no hanging out with Michael Jackson. We ended up eventually getting cool enough to hang out with the band, which meant we flew in the jet with them because they had their own jet. You know what I'm saying? But we never saw Mike till Mike showed up.
Y'all don't do that now. Y'all be on them tour buses.
Right. Right.
I'm just
so stupid.
Okay, anyway.
But things I noticed were like, the production was ridiculous. There was a stage. It took 3 days to build the stage set, so they had 2 production teams where they built the stage and then they would another crew would go do the stage for the next show. And then the original, then they'd skip it. That was my first time seeing that. Just understanding production because I'm a DJ. I'm just paying attention to all of the equipment.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And the fact that Michael sang all his leads. You know what I mean? Just true performer. Just even when he got tired, he just took a minute. I mean, not stop singing, but he would dance. He just was free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I took that with me. I took that with me throughout my whole career.
And okay, can I ask one more question, Miss Producer? She's telling me I gotta take a break. Tell me, as a DJ, like, how do you? I mean, you in the midst of all of this. So, how do people? I mean, I know nowadays when you think about a DJ, they doing all different types of stuff, but this was a whole different time. This wasn't what these DJs are doing now when they got their own, they're producing stuff and doing all this, different stuff. Now, that was like a whole different time. So how did that feel for you being a DJ and what did that mean?
The way I like to describe that is looking at an era of time that I would have liked to have been present for. You know what I'm saying? Both of your fathers. Just being there, watching that. Now think about that. You've got to perform, you got to sing, you're a writer, you have production on stage, all of these things. So as a DJ coming up in the 80s, we had to have our records. It used to cost $600-$700 to fly my records every city.
Wow.
I had people to carry your records. The needle would skip on the turntables. Part of my show with Criss Cross was live. I did Jump and Warm It Up Chris specifically. No, I'm sorry. Warm It Up Chris. There's another song because Jump came from the drum machine. So we just did the show different. The needle could skip on the record.
Right.
My 15-minute set I would do in front of Michael Jackson. Like, this is my first real tour. The needles can skip, and if they skipped, I just picked up. You know how we did back in the day? The record skip at the party, you just keep it going.
Keep it going.
That's the difference. So now there's no. Not every DJ, but now because they can just press the button and hop on the mic, that's what they do. Because that's what they do. I'm not going to beat them up for it, but we just a different era.
But I just feel like it's no skill level. Like, it's not like you really had to know what you were doing then, as opposed to everything is digital, everything is, like at this point I could be a damn DJ, quite frankly. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not, that required skill. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's good that you are trying to be respectful, but do you feel, you had a lot to do with those that came after you. Right. Do you think that there are any of these kids that do have a level of respect for what you brought to the table and what you all brought to the table back then, because they don't really, everything has gotten easier because of technology. Do you think that they understand and respect the fact that you being you made it possible for them to do a lot of the things they're doing now?
Well, they may not know me specifically for me, but for whoever the pioneers are, I think that they, as in young people, I think that they are people who understand it, who have grown into it, may not even understand how they have the gift, meaning the same way we can see a child on Instagram, which I see all the time, box, amazing, play basketball, an amazing gymnast, amazing, they're children.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with DJing. There's plenty of DJs I follow, like, wow, they get it. They got the advantage of technology, but they know the records, they know the old techniques, they use them, and then they push it forward. So, and I communicate with any DJ that follows me on Instagram, and they can message me at any time. So we always talking.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to come back with DJ Nabs. And it ain't over yet, y'all, but we're going to go out with Slide by Slade because I might be doing a huge skate night. Y'all know about it? You know about it now.
Okay.
So I'm Yama Brown.
I'm Heather Hayes.
And we got DJ Nabs in the house.
Better believe it.
In the
He's
house.
hipping y'all
In
to
the
some
house.
history.
Look, let me say something.
Talk to me.
Jermaine will always say, if you want to break a record, you got to break it in the club. But how about you broke some artists, didn't you, on the radio? Like,
Well, yeah.
we ain't heard about Ludacris really until Nabs put him on.
Yeah. Chris was a young student at Georgia State, and I can't remember who brought him to me. Maybe Sean Taylor, who's the program director at the time, to assist on the show. And then, Chris, a hard worker, good guy, just was talented and humble. So he hung out with me. He was just part of my whole crew for a while. And then when I got a record deal in '98 with Columbia, I put him on a song with Jagged Edge called "Is It You." Then we put that out, and then maybe a year and a half later, Chris came out and did his thing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Man, disturbing the peace.
Disturbing the peace.
Chicken and bed.
Oh my gosh.
At the airport.
Always.
I mean, that's dope, though. I mean,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, like, everybody's path is, completely different. And just thinking about from where you came from and your intentions weren't to do all that. And then you just, you were helping create careers. So that's major.
Yeah, it's been good. A lot of people have helped me. And so, if I feel the energy, you just move with it. And it's been a lot of people. A lot of people have helped me, and a lot of people I've helped. And people are in different positions. It's not just rap stars and radio and music and stuff. People are on all sort of political positions and even sports and just different areas where people have just you cross paths and you give people something that they can move and take with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I gotta tell my story.
Yeah.
If I can, real quick. It involves both of you indirectly or directly.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Well, the story I always talk about watching James Brown perform. I only seen him one time. And my friend Jerry Benjamin. I was in LA doing some crisscross business. I caught up with Jerry Benjamin. She wasn't eating bread at the time. I never forget it. We went. What's the spot in LA?
Which one?
The
Crustaceans?
burger spot.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I'm talking
Burger spot.
Yes.
The popular joint.
Yeah.
In and out.
No. Fat Burger.
Fat Burger.
Fat Burger.
I couldn't wait to go to Fat Burger, and Jerry went to Fat Burger before she took me to James Brown's show, and Heather was performing.
Yes.
But we went to Fat Burger, and she took the meat off the bun and threw the bun away. What you doing? She's like, no, I keep my weight down. I was like, yo, that's the thing, really. She kept the pickles and the ketchup and the mustard on it. She just folded it into a little thing.
Wow, she did the lettuce wrap before the lettuce wrap was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. So then we went and saw James Brown. Right?
I remember that too.
You remember?
Yes.
I kept thinking, I was like, is he gonna get tired yet? and then when he, I must not just been aware of this routine. I don't know how, but he goes, and at some point I said, okay, James is tired, and he kneels down and they put the cape on him. Listen, I know I'm supposed to know.
Yeah.
I did not know. I said, okay, he finished. No.
No.
That cape came on. He ran back up that. Said, okay, I'll never forget it.
You're like, what is he, 100 already?
What's going on?
Yes.
Right? Had the OGs back there singing. They was on it. Then had Heather, y'all out there with the long legs and the band. I was like, yo, he got like new and old school on the stage.
Yeah.
I never forget it. It was
And
just
that was
dope.
intentional too, which
can
was
believe it.
crazy. Like that was intentional. Like I mean, I had the same experience. Like, who these people are, but I remember our first show was at Radio City Music Hall. Like, I literally, they were like, oh, they might want some dancers. You guys want to come down to Augusta with me? Me and Keita were like, yeah. And we never went back home.
Right.
Like we say, and it was like, your first show is Radio City Music Hall. I had heard about Radio City Music Hall, but when I got there and walked on the stage, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was really, really intimidating.
Right.
So, I mean, when you are, and even my father is my father, he's my father. So it still kind of doesn't register. But when you see people on that level and you see that level of professionalism and that grind, which is completely, that's how I learned as opposed to, and so to segue into that, since that was your experience, and obviously you were on your grind in that way, and maybe that inspired you to continue. Of course. Do you think the grind is different now for some up and coming artists?
I was gonna bring it back to the DJ conversation about where I am in my life now and the inspiration I've seen from all the greats I've ever met and the ones I've seen from afar. Because I never met just Ali, right? Okay. But I put them all in that same James, your father, like everybody. Greatness is going out on your shield. You know what I mean? Going out there and giving it all you got. So for me, that means as a DJ, I came up with turntables for most of my career. I would touch the new stuff here and there. And don't get me wrong, I carry no records. If I may spin vinyl, but it'd be a very special occasion to bring them heavy crates out. But for the most part, my point is that I want to go down as one of the greatest DJs that ever lived, and I'm not going to stop midstream by using this or using that, or don't do this because people say you don't need to do it anymore. I'm going to scratch and mix on turntables until that's it, because I've seen the greats do it. You're not going to, even Elton John, he's going to be on that grand piano. Prince going to be on that axe, you know what I mean? Right. James Brown, he's not doing the microphone thing. Right? He's not doing the Bobby Brown. That's not James. Yeah. It's not James. You understand? So that's me as far as what I've taken from them in my career. To watch the greats, incorporate it, and do you. So I'm not trying to be nobody else. I'm trying to be that kid, DJ Nabs, who I was 14 and 15, but a more seasoned with my same tools and skill set, the fundamentals of real DJing. Well, you've had a lot of longevity in this particular industry, more than a lot of people. Do you think that has a lot to do with it? I think so. Is your work ethic and your grind and the fact that you still, obviously you're a purist and you actually love it? Right. I think just like we I'm into fitness because of boxing, really. I'm really into boxing, so fitness by default. The science of
that
boxing.
Was Daddy's thing. He liked to box. He thought he was going to be a boxer.
I can see it because there's a connection. There's a connection to expression. Bruce Lee says that I can do a bunch of fancy stuff. I can do this, I can do that. But to express yourself honestly, he meant to throw a punch with everything you got. Make the wall fear you, fear your hand. That's the idea. Express honestly. I can't, if you like it, and play the record. I got to drop that record. Right. You got to hit that spin. You got to hit that note. That's what it is. It all connects. You know what I mean? Yeah. So since you were responsible for breaking records clearly during that time, and some people say it's harder to break records now. Do you think that DJs still have the same impact as they did back then as far as breaking records? Oh yeah. Yeah. Because some people say it takes a lot long. Like for my dad, his first record was broken by a DJ in Detroit. Yeah. Other people wouldn't touch it because it was 30 minutes long. Like who plays a 30-minute song? But that DJ did, and it caught on. Records are children. Hey, Ola. Records are children. They're birthed, and you don't know what it's going to be. You may think you had a son and he's going to go play football, and he may do something totally different. So I'm saying that to say that I was thinking from a producer standpoint, thinking about your dad, creating records. But spinning records, to me, it's 2 points. Spinning records, breaking records really takes a collective. I've never felt one person breaks anything. I never felt that. I think one person can champion it first and use their platform, then others come along. The reason I believe in DJs, and I said this on a panel about radio versus streaming. This was Pandora, iTunes, Tidal, and everybody. And I was the only person in radio on that. I said I believe in people. Not algorithms, not this, not research. All of that's great information, is tools, but I believe in people. It's not, just because you're connected to the internet does not mean that a person 5 miles from here is going to play me on your record that we just did right here at Dad's Radio, right? Yeah. But people want to go to the internet when you don't even have a person down the street at the pub, the local pub where all your friends at. And I said pub. bar, whatever, right? And so I say, so it's people. Get him involved. Yes, you want the big radio DJ. You want them to do it. You want the guy with the podcast with 1 million followers. Yeah, you want them to play it, but it takes everybody. He can play it one time, and that's it. But if this guy plays it forever, next thing you know, you're going to have a show. And then it builds from there. You know that. And you know that's where money comes from. Money don't come from these records, no way.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah.
I think the second part was when I'm talking about, I wanted to speak about birthing records. You put a record out there, you don't know where that record gonna go. My neck, my back, and my right. For instance, I love to use this one as an example. You know, that one has and this is years ago. This is 20 years ago when I realized that record had a whole lane in the gay community, an entire lane. It used to just be a southern.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it goes there. Now that record could easily be a line dance record too. I'm a roller skater. Oh, come on, you already know what we do with James.
Yeah.
We don't just rock the James Brown at the roller skating rink. There are DJs that's made customized James Brown loops and versions that you only gonna hear at the skating rink.
Right.
You can't come in the skating rink and drop what's hot on the radio and think you about to kill it. You got that James Brown breakbeat loop that's from the cut that's not on streaming nowhere. You can't download it. That's how music moves. You don't know. You just put it out there. You know what I mean? That's anyway. That's a rant.
Man, I'm going to the next skating session.
See, y'all better listen.
Come on.
And live streaming it all the whole time.
So before you leave us, what you got going up next? Because you are I hear you on the radio still. So what else is going on?
Listen, Highs, Mids, and Lows is a project that I've been working on ever since, I'm going to say last year. Last year, July 7th, 2018, I wrote an open letter about infidelity on my part in my marriage and how it ended up. It ended badly and involved other people. So in that year, which is, I'm now a year and a month or so past that, I was led to do a music project, really. And I hesitate to say album because it's more than music. But the first single I released a year from the date of the open letter last year. So this past July 9th, I released a song called Hourglass, featuring a singer-songwriter named Birdsong. And he really kind of summed up my situation and others who in situations like me with a song called Hourglass. So we put that out July 7th, and we're following that up with a single from that features Soleil called Highs, Mids, and Lows. And there's a remix to Hourglass, which maybe we can play it here, but it's an Afro-pop type record version of Hourglass, because the Hourglass kind of came out as a pop record. It just was what it was, and I just let it be. I knew we'd come back and...
So do you think this will speak to, because I think that when we talk about especially infidelity in this industry, I feel like the walk is a little different.
Sure.
Is the music going to speak to those that will be able to relate, I guess, outside of the industry and in the industry? Because I think, personally, it's not giving you guys a pass. I just know just from experience, and I have a father who's been in this industry, that it's a little different.
Right.
And so does the music speak to everyone who has dealt with infidelity on, I would say, both
the
sides?
single does. Only the single.
Okay.
The single is called Hourglass, and it's really anyone, men, women, or whatever. This is my interpretation. I think the greatest songs, no different than the word, wherever you get the word from, it's about interpretation. Great song. So Hourglass talks about... the way I interpret it is an impossible decision you have to make, and time is running out. Because, we can sit on an impossible decision forever.
Yeah.
And let that decision not be made. Yeah. Sit on that fence. But when time is running out and you got to make a choice, then it's you inside the hourglass. Everyone.
So,
wherever it may be.
Just to kind of double back on that, kind of same subject, but... Right. What moved you to write an open letter? Because it's your personal business. It's not something that you had to share.
Oh yeah, let me tell you, man. First of all, I'm a documentarian in a real way, in a letter writing sort of way. A keep the notebooks, the pens, this paper, because this is my time to be here at Dash Radio. I will have this 20 years from now. This is me. So, confessing. Well, let me put it this way to you, because I want to say it this way too. But writing and expressing myself is a real powerful tool for me, period. I don't have to be a rapper to write. Let's just be clear. And I'm an incredible writer, first of all. So the way I want to deal with that situation, it was more than one person. It was obviously her. It was obviously my ex. It was my family. It was my ex's family. It was him. It was everybody. So I wrote a series of letters.
Mm-hmm.
I just put one out publicly because I wanted to make sure it was heard. You can ignore that. You can ignore this.
Yeah.
But let me put it here so it's not ignored. I'm going to do it in front of my God. So I testified. That's why a year later he gave me the album of my dreams. I didn't do it for nobody else.
Were you afraid?
Nope. Not afraid enough. I'm afraid when I walk in the boxing gym, but don't stop my steps.
Yeah.
I'm afraid when it's time to go on that stage, I don't stop my steps. So I was afraid in that way, but not afraid in the way of, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Backlash or
trust
anything.
I trust the God in me. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, because of course, I know you.
Yeah.
Like I know you too. I've been to your home. Like I
Right.
know you. So of course, when I saw it, I'm thinking, why he telling everybody his business? He ain't got to do that. Like, because you're my friend.
Right.
So, and I know how outside people who don't have a clear picture of everything and they never will, you know, choose to, I say would make a judgment. So I was one of the ones that was like, I think we were on here and I was like,
Yeah.
why is he telling his business? I don't want anybody to, you know,
Yeah.
to know that. But I understand in the sense that when you step back from it, it really could help someone else, a lot of other people in that particular situation. And if that's what you needed to do on your heart, to confess and to release that, I get it.
Because as you can see, I'm here,
Blessed.
stronger, better, wiser.
Yes.
I'm not done, you know. And listen, you know, this is, you know, it's two places that's home: Durham, North Carolina, where I was raised, and Atlanta. And I've been here 30 years, which means I've been here longer than I've been at home.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came here, my grind has been about my career. My family is really in Durham. So once my family was on board with me, that was it.
Yeah.
Listen, I haven't talked to some of these people in Atlanta in the industry in a year. I've looked at my phone, decided who I want to talk to and who I did not as I move forward. Listen, this is the decision that we all have to make to move to the next point in our lives.
Yeah.
People can't hold you back. Don't let fear hold you back. I'm 50 years old, in the best shape of my life, doing the best album I've ever had the opportunity of putting together. And I did an album 20 years ago. So doing an album is not a new thing. I'm showing you can do anything you want. I'm a roller skate. I'm a run. I'm a box. I'm a swim. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do because I
Man, he
want to
gonna
do it.
spin with me real soon.
That's
We
right.
getting ready to do a
That's
spin
right.
class.
That's right.
Yup. We getting ready to do it. We getting
Right.
ready to do it. But what we getting ready to do right now is go out with Hourglass by DJ Nabs. And let me tell you something. We're gonna have you back on here talking about that infidelity.
Let's do it.
We
Featuring
need to have
Birdsong.
we need to have some men
Just
on here.
more in-depth
Depth.
conversation.
For men, because I think
For
men need to
women
hear-
too.
Yeah.
Now, there's no way we
Well,
gonna
yeah.
just be for
Well, yeah.
men, because I'm gonna have to pull out documentation and print it out right here so I can show you what women do.
Well, let's say this from a man's
point of
perspective.
perspective.
Oh, God.
Because I think y'all get. I think
He's
y'all
like,
get
all
the bad
right, I
rap.
let that pass. I
Thank
let
you,
that
Nabs.
play. Thank you, Nabs.
Welcome, thank you.
All right, we going out, y'all. The show is over, so get into it.
Goodbye.
Hourglass by DJ Nabs. See y'all.
You're watching Soul Sisters on Pure Soul, powered by Isaac Hayes on Dash Radio.